Okay, thanks. Well, hello, we're here on the last ever Haze Hour. Don't ask for the moment, I'll fill you in on that a little bit later on. But tonight, for the first time ever on VTTV live, I am joined by Dr. Marewa Glover, all the way direct from New Zealand. And if you've been watching this live, you'll know it hasn't been an easy task. Apparently the internet chickens are not flying between New Zealand and here all that well. But Maria, we've made it now. How are you doing? And thanks for sticking with it.
Great, and it's a beautiful day here, about to start.
About to start? What time is it?
About 8:20.
Good Lord above, 8:20 in the morning. That's just, that's a time that just shouldn't exist. It just shouldn't exist.
On Friday, so you're tomorrow.
So we're actually speaking to somebody in the future.
Yes.
That kind of ties in well. That ties in well. Okay, look, let's get into this. First things, because there'll be a lot of people want to know about you. What's your background, and how did you come to get involved with e-cigs? How's that kind of gone there?
Well, I did smoke myself. I probably started when I was first tried a cigarette when I was 13, which wasn't unusual back then, especially for Māori, Indigenous New Zealand children. And I smoked probably regularly from as soon as I had money, I guess, from 16, and got chronic bronchitis in my early 20s. So that was, I believed the messages that had only just started then about you could die from smoking.
Okay.
And so I did manage to give up. I was never a heavy smoker. I was only a light smoker anyway, and I really believed that if I'd kept smoking, I would have had chronic lung diseases. And I hated smoking then because I had a reaction to cigarette smoke even, because I'd had asthma from my parents smoking around me as a child. And so my passion for helping people stop smoking, I guess, comes from a deep sort of dislike of the smoke. And I got into the work mainly via Dr. Murray Logerson when I worked with him in the early 1990s. And he said, well, I learnt how many people were dying, 5,000 a year in New Zealand, it's estimated, and about 650 Māori people, which is a major concern to me. So that's like, 2 jet planes crashing every year and killing everybody on board. And we're a small population anyway, kind of an endangered species, you could say. There's about 600,000 Māori now, and another 100,000 living over in Australia. So we're kind of unique and we want to survive, and tobacco smoking has been a major killer of my people, so that's why I do this work.
So, right, we met up in Warsaw, but we've kind of tweeted before then. So what brought about the interest in e-cigs? What made you think, hang on a minute, we've got something here? Because I know you're one of the keenest people on e-cigs I've ever come across, which I love. Oh, and by the way, kia ora.
Great. Kia ora.
So what's the situation? When did you discover them? What did you think of them when you first came across them? And kind of where are you now?
It was colleagues of mine, great colleagues, Dr. Grace Wong, met Honlik at a conference, and then Murray Logerson also He was always looking for the latest and newest nicotine delivery system, cleaner nicotine delivery system. So he got really keen about electronic cigarettes and did a very early study for Honlick, looking at the toxicology. And I've worked with Murray and stayed working with Murray for over 20 years now. So a group of us really started to look at, we were already looking at denicotinized cigarettes, so taking the nicotine out of the smoked tobacco. And we also, about 10 years ago, tried to open up the New Zealand market for Swedish snus, so that was another reduced harm product. But we had no luck here in New Zealand lobbying to get Swedish snus in. We already had a law banning oral tobacco. So Murray and Trish Fraser and I and others, we were working on that.
I just want to dive in there. I'm sorry. This is one of the first times I've heard anybody outside of the EU say that they were trying to get Swedish snus in. I think that that's just blown the top of my head off. I didn't know that, and I like to think I'm prepared when I'm doing this kind of thing. But I had, wow. So this really is born out of harm reduction, isn't it?
Yes, and looking for alternatives. So everything we've been doing in tobacco control, the standard program, I mean, it's great, and we've all managed to, a lot of countries have managed to reduce down to about 17% smoking prevalence. But I think we're all hitting a bit of a brick wall there. And to me, what's concerning is the disparities. So you get a majority group, usually the dominant culture, managed to reduce their smoking prevalence. And everybody else is left smoking. The people with mental health illnesses, people in drug and alcohol services, the workers that work in those systems, the Indigenous people, the poor minorities. So a whole lot of people are left with really high smoking prevalence rates. And countries like Australia are saying, yeah, we're leading the world, we're down to 15% or lower. But you really need to look deeper than that at who is left smoking and what's still being done for them. And that standard tobacco program hasn't worked for some people. They're not affected by the advertising. Maybe they don't watch TV. They don't. Maybe they don't have a job, so the smoke-free workplaces doesn't affect them. And smoke-free pubs and clubs has been fantastic, but really, as you know, people just go outside. So there's a lot left smoking, and we're not going to get to our goal in New Zealand of a smoke-free nation. And I'll be really interested to see what you see when you come here, how smoke-free it is. And so we were hoping to get to be the first new smoke-free nation in the world by 2025. But we're just not reducing smoking prevalence that quickly. We need to do something else. And seeing the numbers of people who have switched from smoking to vaping in the UK, Germany, USA, China, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is doing it. This would do it really rapidly.
Right. So okay, I'm pretty much up to speed on your background and where you've gone. I'm very impressed that you've worked with Murray Laugerson, because he's one of my heroes. It's one of the things I like about this is I get to meet a lot of my heroes, and you are one. You should know that. But yeah, we're now looking, or I want to look at what the situation is in New Zealand as it stands at the moment. I know Murray is a big proponent of e-cigs. It would be very difficult to be any bigger a proponent of e-cigs than you are. And then we've got Hayden McRobbie, who is a Kiwi, even though he does spend an awful lot of time over in the UK. Again, a big proponent of e-cigs.
Yeah.
But everything I see tells me that you've got quite a battle going on in New Zealand. So what's the situation there now?
Yes, so it would be okay if our smokers could buy the nicotine e-juice, but they can't. So the current legislation bans the import and sale and distribution of nicotine e-juice. It comes under that oral tobacco clause in the Smoke-Free Environments Act. However, the people can buy it online and have it, and they can buy it when they go travelling overseas. But of course, that doesn't help people like my sister, who's not going to get to go overseas and who doesn't have internet access or a credit card to buy things online. So there's still a whole lot of people who can't access it. What we would have to do in New Zealand is have a change to that law. And any change of any law is a big process, a lot of money, a lot of time, and then you have to lobby for quite a long time to get any change in law. We don't have agreement in our public health sector among the tobacco control workers, and the public really haven't been asked about this yet, about whether we should change the law and in what way. And I think that there are a lot of people who have been, they've heard all that misinformation. I don't believe in the precautionary principle here. So many people have switched from e-cigarettes to smoking that we're beyond that. This is like, if you don't look at helping people get off smoking by this, there's something wrong. But the misinformation that comes through that global media about e-cigs blowing up in people's mouths or the dangers, that's what's got to the public here, and that's what the public health sector are concerned about. And plus we have some very passionate tobacco control advocates who have come from overseas, or they're part of the dominant culture. So we have a set of older, white, powerful academics who they've worked for a long time on tobacco control in New Zealand towards the smoke-free nation, and they feel that e-cigarettes are a great threat to their work and to what they feel they have achieved. But they've only achieved that smoke-free culture for their people, not for mine.
How is it possible that a nation that's got yourself and Murray Laugerson, and it's a small nation, as you say, how is it possible that academics in that nation can look at e-cigs and consider them to be a threat to what they have done? Because everything I see coming out of people that are fervently into tobacco control, certainly over the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen this end game word a lot. And it seems to me that with e-cigs, the end game is a possibility, but without the coercion, demonisation, victimisation and bullying, if you like, of smokers. Because as an ex-smoker yourself, you know that they're just normal people that have a habit that is still, throughout the world, reasonably normal to do. The whole denormalisation thing, I think in the UK has blown up, actually, and the likes of the indoor smoking bans actually make smoking more normal for children than it would before. Because if you're stuck in the pub having 15 pints, you're stuck in the pub having 15 pints and the kids are walking down the main street out the way. But no, now you're thrown out onto the main street and you see great gaggles of guys and girls, and you never used to see women smoking on the streets, at least not in my part of the world, but they're now all stood around sucking the nicotine down as fast as they can before they go in for the next 5 pints of their session. And that's more normal now than it ever was, as far as kids walking down city centres are concerned. So I don't understand this. Where have these tobacco control academics got this idea that e-cigs are going to prevent the end game? They can only hasten it for the simple reason that they're better than fags. You have a much better experience than you ever would with a lit cigarette, in my opinion. I know there are some that would argue with that, and that's fine. If it's not a better experience for them, that's cool. I'm good with that. But in terms of the majority of people that move towards e-cigs, they are a better alternative in all sorts of different ways, and I can't understand the academics that just can't see that. In your opinion, is there something that's driving them to be scared of e-cigs?
I think that it is the belief in, it goes back to sort of what are the underlying theories that people believe in. And I guess it comes back to social learning theory and role modeling. So one of the problems for the group that are concerned that the smoke-free culture that they believe is embedded in New Zealand now. We've had the Smoke-Free Environments Act since 1990, so a lot longer than the UK, and our pubs and clubs and restaurants have been smoke-free since 2004. So they believe that New Zealand has this embedded culture of being smoke-free. And what we're not talking about the tobacco product here, we're talking about the smoke. And so the cloud that you're blowing out your nostrils now, that to them, there's no difference. They think that children cannot tell the difference between cloud from vaping and smoke from a cigarette. But I've done research with children myself, and they're not that dumb. They can tell the difference. And a lot of people look, that at first, from a distance, they might not know the difference. They might just, that person's smoking. But then the person puts the cigarette in their pocket, and you go, what? Oh, hang on, that's not smoking. Children, I think we need to afford them a little bit more intelligence than they are being afforded. The other thing is that if parents vape, they're going to talk to their children about what they're doing. And children love the idea that their parents have stopped smoking. Our campaigns, teaching people, demonizing cigarettes, telling them they're going to die. Children have seen these campaigns. They have very deep fears that their loved ones, their mother, their father, their auntie is going to die. They see somebody smoking. They don't get that that person might not die for 30 or 40 years. They think they're going to die now. And they're really, really scared. So when you explain to them this electronic cigarette, it's to help people stop smoking, they're like, that's cool. Not cool as in, oh, that's cool, I'm going to do it. That's cool because they want their parents, they want their loved ones and their brothers and sisters to stop smoking.
Yes.
So I think that the denormalizing is about getting rid of the smoke, getting rid of the cloud. So it's not even necessarily that people are still using nicotine or going to be addicted to that. Out of sight, out of mind, they don't want to smell it, they don't want to see it. This is their world. Don't you go messing it up with your white stinky cloud, Isn't
it strange though when you consider, and I know your research backs this up, that kids appear to be more sensible about this whole thing than some of the anti-e-cig academics. Kids can tell the difference from 1,000 yards. Even my grandson is 2.5-year-old, going on 25, and he knows the difference. Now, his mum, my daughter, she's never been kind of anti-anything really. She's very inclusive. She's kind of a Mother Earth. She's the kind of girl that I think any bloke would want for a mum. Any kid. She's really good that way, and she's never done the demonisation thing because she was a smoker, and both her dad, myself, and her mum, we were both smokers. So she's never kind of gone down that demonisation route and tried to make us feel outcast. The only rule has been that because I've been vaping for 6.5 years, she told me if you ever start smoking again, you don't see your grandkids, and that's fine. So the little ones never got any what's the word I'm looking for? No propaganda. And he's not old enough to kind of watch, I mean, it's all Disney Channel and, I don't know, Dora the Explorer and whatever it is. So he doesn't get any of the anti-smoking messages thrown at him yet. He'll be around me, and there's the whiff of whatever flavour it is we're using, which is very rare, a little bit milky at the minute. And he's fine with that, likes that. But if there's anybody outside lights a fag up, it's, I don't like the smell of that one, it's not as nice as yours, Grandad. It's like, okay, that's fine. So he knows, he's only 2.5, and he knows the difference already. And when you start talking about, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids, they're bright as a button, they're straight on it. The older kids on our street, they all understand what it is. And I know their parents have told them, but they're good with that, I think it's great. And sorry, I'm burbling on too long. Look, we've actually got to take a blast of adverts, which will give us a good chance to kind of say hello between ourselves. And I am aware, because I have a young lady over my right shoulder who has been kind of nodding a little bit and pointing out, I think, in her own quiet way, that I haven't played the titles, have I, Sav?
You haven't played the titles.
I haven't played the titles, so I'm going to play the titles and then the adverts. So here are, for the very, very last time, the Haze Hour titles and then the adverts. So hello, good evening, and kia ora to the last ever Haze Hour. Right, we're not going to have the titles, and we're not going to have any of the adverts either. The whole lot's all gone, and I don't understand quite why. They shouldn't have, but they have. I shall try again. This is a night for the gremlins. I think what's happened, and I've got this now, chat's actually given me some clues on this one. It looks as though the hobbits have come across the wires from South Island and they're invading my territory. I'm going to give it one last try for the adverts. Let's see what happens.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
And we're back live. We are absolutely live. I had no sound on there, but I was lucky enough to see that we would got there. Right, so where have we gotten to? We've gotten to the fact that you're a big supporter of e-cigs, but there's a big uphill battle that needs to be fought with academics, with legislators, and so on and so on and so forth. So then we come to you coming up to Warsaw and delivering a really heartfelt speech. I thought it was smashing. It's up there on the GFN 2015 site if anybody wants to go and have a look at it. And I'm not going to get the link put in because I would like everybody to have a look. Which camera are you on, David? That one. I would like everybody to have a look at the rest of the videos that are up there as well. But if you listen to Marewa and hear what the situation is in New Zealand, you can hear the passion coming through. And then we had that little interview afterwards, and then you said, why don't you come over? So I'm coming over, aren't I? Yes?
Great.
Yes. So, right, we probably need to tell everybody why I'm going, because I think there are 1 or 2 people that think I'm emigrating to New Zealand. and I'm not. I mean, I've watched a few videos and truthfully I wouldn't mind, but I'm not emigrating. I'm going across there to do a little bit of work as well as have a look around. So would you be kind enough, Mario, to tell everybody what it is I'm going to be doing when I get over there? And if Jill's listening, she'll be writing it all down as well. Go on.
Yeah. No, this is great. It's thank you so much for responding to my, call for help to come. And I think that New Zealanders, we're really in our infancy in terms of vaping and the e-cigarette product. And so there's a lot of naivety and just a lack of information people haven't had. So the first thing we're going to get you to do, I'm running a session at Massey University where I'm an associate professor, and I've invited people from the local tobacco control sector. So there are cessation workers who are coming who are really interested to find out about e-cigarettes, and there are academics coming and there are researchers coming. And I've just basically invited them to come and ask you any questions they have about e-cigarettes and vaping. So, because I think that's the first step, is to just get everyone to sort of, look, what are your concerns? What do you want to know? And let's talk about them and talk through them and what's actually got basis and what hasn't. So that's a start. On Sunday, the 4th of October, there will be the first ever New Zealand Vape Day. And that's going to be an event here in Auckland, and I'll be taking you and Jill to that. And wow, we haven't had one before, so that's going to be really excellent, and excellent support for us to show to the New Zealand vape retailing community and the manufacturers that we have. We do have a few. And so that's on Sunday. And I also just want to show you around some of the shops that are selling e-cigarette products, so we can have a look at those in Auckland City. And then as you travel around the country, I'll try and find out where some of the others are, so you can maybe have a look at those. And just so I'd be really interested in your perspective on what range of products you see our New Zealand smokers have access to. What can they buy in the shops? One of the concerns for some of the shops that I'll show you is that they are hemp stores, and there's a chain of stores that sell water pipes and things like that. And so there are quite a few people who have said to me, I don't feel comfortable going into those shops. And someone said, I think the police film everybody going into the hemp store. So we don't have vape shops, and I think it's fairly limited in terms of where people can buy the product. And that's one of the biggest and most frequent questions I'm now asked is, where can I get one? Where can I get one today? And then, of course, people can't legally buy the nicotine juice anyway, so they then have to learn how to go online and buy that. And we're just there, and I'd really be interested to see what your perspective on, I guess, the prevalence of vaping. There just are not very many people vaping here, I don't think, although I seem to see a new one every week, a new vapor every week.
I was going to ask you the question to kind of work out, what kind of prevalence is there now? I know, I mean, I watch your tweets like a hawk, and I keep seeing, I've met another vapor, I've seen another vapor, and it wasn't the same vapor as the vapor that I saw the last time, and now there's another one as well, and there's a guy in a dirty Mac vape, and so on and so forth. And we're going to talk about your sister in a little bit as well. But do you think it's growing exponentially over there? And I mean, is before I come over, is there anything I can do to help it grow faster? What would you need me to do? Tell me and I'll do it.
I don't think it's growing exponentially. It's slow, and I think, it's like with any new technology, people can be very wary of it, and it's not really until they know somebody who has used that technology. So the more people that have quit smoking using vaping, and then they usually become an advocate in terms of other people ask them. And my sister is just being asked, she's texting me saying, what am I going to do? These people, they want to buy my e-cigarette off me. And she has a whole family up where she lives that they dragged her around to their house. They come and talk to us about it. And, and she's not a cessation worker. And she doesn't know, she really wants to help them, but what can she do? And so these are the other smokers, and people will see somebody vaping out on the street, because in New Zealand, because of the smoke-free culture we've had for a long time, most of our vapors go outside. They're quite happy to do that. We're used to that here. And so other smokers will see vapors out on the streets vaping, and they'll go over and ask about it. But we just don't have very many, I don't think. And so I guess that's the next step, is to get more people vaping, and then also supporting them in how to talk to others about it. And the main problem is, where can people get it? So I might show you some of the online websites that people are accessing as well. And, they're saying to me, it's not that easy to use those. So we probably need some cool app. Makes it really easy to find the product and get it delivered.
Well, there are people that can do that. What I was going to ask is there anybody over there that's got the gumption to be able to at least set up and sell hardware in a vape shop in the middle of Auckland, do you think? Is there anybody I can twist their arms and say, look, put 50 grand into this?
Yes, there are definitely people here who would love to have a vape shop in Queen Street in Auckland, in our main city, or Wellington. But I guess it is the economics of it. I think that maybe there are some other business models that could be tried, like pop-up shops. That might be something to do first. I think there is a vape shop down in Hawke's Bay, and you and Jill might travel down there, because it's a beautiful place to visit as well.
Oh, we've already, since you told us that, we've already put Hawke's Bay on the map, and there's 3 or 4 days going to be spent up there. I shall find that vape shop without a shadow of a doubt. That's definitely happening. And the geothermal pools. Apparently you can lose weight very quickly in those, and Jill tells me I need to. On the subject of your sister and needing some help, I'm more than happy to go where she is and do whatever needs doing, and there's not going to be a problem about gear. There's just not. That's not going to be an issue. I've got a 40 kilogram weight allowance, so yes, there'll not be an issue. I'll bring what I can, and if I'm going to say this now, if there's any vendors watching and you want to help out, you've all got my address. If you haven't, DM one of our moderators on there. They'll sort it out and get it to you. If you want to send anything over there, please do. And if you want to, send an aid parcel to Marewa, yes, that'd be all right, wouldn't it, Marewa?
It is, yes. Hardware is fine. Nicotine e-juice it's illegal to distribute, which means it's even illegal to give it away. So people can only get that in for their own use.
Well, of course, it would all be zero nic marked up on the bottles. That would be fine. There would be no nicotine in it at all. 18 milligram. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a good idea. I'll talk with my sister, and there's a smaller town that's about an hour and a half north of Auckland. Well, I might take you and Jill up there, and we can go and maybe visit this family that Donna's found, or that they found her, and but there are many others, and some health providers that are out in those rural areas that they'll miss out. They'll miss out on your talk because they're out in the rural area. So we might do a little bit of a tiki tour up there and show you. I mean, that's really the crux of it to me. Where if you go into a rural or an isolated area, someone who's cash poor, who doesn't have internet and who doesn't have a credit card, and yet they can go to, maybe it might take 10 minutes to drive to the local dairy or petrol station, but they can still get cigarettes, they can still buy smoked tobacco, but they can't get e-cigarettes or vaping. And that's really the thing. I mean, my sister she doesn't have to drive down there now, and she's been smoke-free for 3 months, and she says it is better. It is better than smoking. And that was a real paradigm shift for me, because there's never been anything better for smokers. This is, I absolutely understand how it is better in all the aspects that are involved in vaping. And so much more, there's much more to it than just having a cigarette. And I can't wait till we attract more researchers to this topic. We need sociologists and anthropologists and psychologists, not just all of this at the moment, not negative focus, but there's a lot of researchers who just seem intent on trying to find out what's wrong with them, instead of, hey, what is this new phenomenon, and all of the sociology that's going around with it. It's really fascinating to me.
Yes, I can well understand that. I do think a big area of research, and I've said this a few times before, we're at the stage now where I think we know most about how they work. Now they need to find out how to make them work better, even better for everybody, so that new people coming in can take advantage of it better, especially in Europe with the way things are with the TPD. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk about your sister. And not in a nasty way, chat. I'm reading chat down here, and they're saying I've got to keep my hands off your sister. Well, I mean, seriously, like I would. They're also wondering how I've managed to get 40 kilograms baggage allowance. It's a bloody long way, so they give you more baggage allowance because you need to get changed on the flight. Well, not necessarily on the flight, but on the way. It's 30 hours between Newcastle and Auckland. And unfortunately, I have to land in Australia on the way. I'm kind of hoping that one of the cleaners is called Simon Chapman. Back after the adverts.
Dripper selection boxes now come in 0 and 3 mg strengths. So tell Dripper the kind of flavours you like and we'll send you 70ml of some of the world's most exciting flavours every month. With free delivery anywhere in Europe, treat yourself to a Dripper box today.
Dripper.co.uk.
LP Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and e-liquids. Proud sponsors of vaping entertainment on Vapor Trails TV.
And we're back live. We are back live, and I still haven't been able to sort the titles out. I'm not going to play them in, Sav. Oh, don't pull that face. She's pulling a face. She is. She's pulling a face. Look at the face she's pulling. I'll try and sort it so that we can play the titles in, Sav. I will. I'll try. For the last time ever. Because there'll be no more Haze Hours after tonight. No more. No. Don't worry, chat. I'm not leaving you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to go and live in New Zealand. Although I might not come back. You never know. Okay, right. The first week I'm over there, as we were saying during the break, whatever it is you want me to do that you think is going to help, tell me, show me where, and it will be done. It just will, because that's why I'm going. I want to get across there and do whatever I can to help you and Murray and Hayden and whoever else get e-cigs where they ought to be on the map in New Zealand. So whatever it's needed, whatever you want Jill and I to do, all you've got to do is say. That's our pledge.
That's fantastic. And the other thing that's happening at NZ Vape Day is that I believe that there is a new organisation that is formed, which is going to be the New Zealand Vaping Alliance. So it's a new advocacy group, and that will be made up of the current, some of the current vapors, vape retailers and vape manufacturers. So I hope to introduce you to some of them. And I think that there's probably a lot of information you can share with them and support you can give to them directly as well. So I'll be looking forward to introducing you to others, especially those guys that are, they're doing this every day. They're helping people quit smoking every day. And with our laws, they're not allowed to make any health claims at all. So they have to be very careful. Of course, we know that switching to vaping comes with health improvement, and I've seen that with my sister, and of course with others. So they're quite restricted in what they can say. Of course, they can't advertise. They can advertise the hardware, but not. They have to be very careful. So it'll be great for them to be able to talk with you and get ideas on and strategies. I think that there needs to be kind of maybe some more public advocacy work and talking with the media. We need to get this talked about in just the general media, not in a positive way, so that we offset those negative stories that mainly seem to come out of the States, and our papers then pick them up and just recycle them, which is unfortunate.
Well, again, if you can get me in front of a TV camera, fine. I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Right.
We'd get to chain you up to the front of the TV one gate. No. Short of doing it naked, anything, and even if there's enough gin, I'll do it naked. I mean, that's guaranteed to get some kind of coverage. Pretty much like, and today in New Zealand, a blimp crashed on the street. Something along those lines. Now, just before we go on in this last little run in towards the end, I need to explain to people, yes, I fly out. Everybody's wanting to know how the hell I'm getting over there and why 30 hours and so on and so forth. Newcastle to Dubai, 7-hour flight. 10.5-hour layover in Dubai. As luck would have it, I should be going to a hotel, having something to eat. The 4 S's, the gentlemen in the audience will know what that implies. And then back into Dubai airport, off onto an Airbus 380, and it's got another number after it. From there down to, where is it? Sydney. And then from Sydney across to Auckland, but I don't have to get off in Sydney, because if I got off in Sydney, that's a little bit close to where a certain person lives apparently, and that would not be a good idea, because I could be tempted then to take a trip into the city and back out. They'd never catch us. So we land in Auckland at, it's completely wrong, because we land in Auckland at 2 o'clock and it just doesn't, I can't do the sums. I can't work it out. I've got to go by 7 hours, 10.5 hours, 18 hours.
then I know where I am. So that's how it works out. And then the flight back apparently is an awful lot quicker. It's like a day quicker because we're going the other way or something. I don't know. You kind of fly tomorrow and land yesterday when you're coming back. It's just weird. But I am really, really looking forward to it. And yes, Jill and I are going to have a look around, as you heard. We're going to go around probably mostly the North Island and visit places where there are vape shops and where e-cigs are being sold, and I'll talk to people, and I'm going to try and get as much filmed footage as I can for one of the new crop of shows. There's another teaser, Salve. I'm not telling you any more than that. Right, Marewa, your sister. Firstly, everybody knows her as your sister. It's Marewa's sister. That's what everybody knows her as. What's her name?
Her name is Donna.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the journey, Donna's journey, because we saw it online, and it's kind of it's pretty thrilling for a lot of people, and I'm sure they'd like to hear it from you. And if we get a chance, can I film an interview with her?
Yeah. So yeah, she's a year younger than me and started smoking very early as well. So she would have been smoking from 15 or 16, and she's had periods in her life where she has stopped smoking or not smoked for a while or a few years, but pretty much has been, smoking on and off. More smoking than not smoking, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I've been quite concerned. Obviously, I have, before I got her on the patches, she's tried Zyban, everything that came out, I would say, here, have a go at this. But in a way, obviously you can't ram this down people's throats. So it's just sort of, would you like me to write you a quick card? And, she has given everything a go. And when she was ready, and sometimes it worked. Sometimes she did stop for a little while, and then she would relapse. She has a lot of stressful things happen in her life, and the poverty, and she has a tough life. And yeah, it's hard when you have that much stress, and sometimes I can understand, you just don't. What's the point of stopping smoking, really, if life doesn't give you anything better than that? So I was really concerned a few months ago, because when she'd come over, she has this sort of low, kind of rattly, I could hear it, and I've had an auntie who got emphysema and died from chronic obstructive respiratory disease, and I was just really concerned for her health. And time is getting on, and you go, oh, I'm not sure this is going to develop into something worse. So I really wanted to get an electronic cigarette for her, but I didn't know what to buy, and I didn't know, which ones work best. And it really wasn't until I came to Warsaw, and I just learned so much. And then, of course, lovely Donna in Australia gave me a kit to bring back for my sister. And I brought it back and gave it to her, and took her outside. I'm like, okay, have a go. And I didn't know how to use it either, so we're just sort of both trying to figure it out. And she has a puff of coughs, but that was it. She didn't smoke again. So it was it's a pretty amazing thing to see when you've worked trying to help people stop smoking for 23 years, and I know her journey. I know how hard it's been, how many things she's tried, how and of course you always think, yes, well, it might just work for a little while. She might relapse. This is a chronic relapsing condition. But so far, and it's what she's been saying, it's the changes for her. So it's the cost benefit. Her health has improved. Her skin looks fantastic. And she's having people say that to her. She can smell again. Her her house doesn't smell of cigarettes, although her son doesn't like her to smoke inside, but it's the smell on her even, and that was on her bedding. And there's just so many changes, and she's enjoying them all and primarily saving money. And it's we'll just keep watching to see, but big changes. And then, when she said this is better than smoking, and she wasn't the first person to say that, but because there was a young guy at Warsaw who was a tobacco journal editor or journalist, and he gave a talk, and he said in his talk that nothing comes close to the smoked cigarette. And he also said there was no social aspect to vaping, and I thought, oh, you're wrong there. But when my
I'm sorry. No, so obviously, yes. I'm hoping this National Vape Day in New Zealand pays off then, because you'll see what the social aspect is to that.
Absolutely. And so when my sister said it's better than smoking, and not being a vapor and not having been a smoker for a long time, that really, I thought, could it actually be better than a cigarette? If it is, then we are looking, this is revolutionary. This is really, it is Honlick's vision. It is the end of the smoked cigarette. Unless we have, like a nuclear war and that thing that kills all electronics or something. Let's hope not.
I watched that series too, and yes, you're so right. If something saps the power from everything, then no, I wouldn't be a happy bunny. But then a pizza or lighter wouldn't work either, so you'd be stuffed, wouldn't you? No, I think you're right. I think e-cigs, I'm gonna adopt academic language now. I believe that electronic cigarettes have the potential to hasten the end of smoked tobacco without any coercion and without any intervention by tobacco controllers at all.
I agree, and I think that that the problem we now have is the control aspect, tobacco control, and that is, we really must underline that word. It is about control, and we're now starting to get to the grips of really human behaviour, and some of the not nice human behaviour. You referred to bullying. Societies need a group to vilify. They need a group that they can point at and laugh and scorn. And smokers have been that group for a long time in New Zealand. It was quite socially acceptable to be scornful and disdainful towards smokers. And now they're doing something that could potentially move them out of that group. Who will be the next group that will get bullied?
Fat lads. It'll be the fat lads.
Vapors.
Yeah, it'll be the fat lads. It'll be me. Be the fat lads. That's fine. I'll take the weight. I don't care. I've got broad shoulders. No, I think you're right. They do need to have somebody to vilify. They perhaps should look in the mirror. That's my thinking. If they want to vilify somebody, they need to vilify themselves, because the tobacco controllers, the ardent ones, the Chapmans of this world, I think, and the Glances of this world, and the McKees and the Cape Wells and others, need to look at themselves very, 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 very hard, because they're now in a position where the date of guilty knowledge is so long past that they've got no real excuse for doing what they're doing anymore. It's about time they jumped on the bandwagon with the rest of the sane and sensible people in the world and did something about it. Did what you've been doing. Did what Hayden McRobbie's been doing. Did what Murray Laugerson's been doing, and that's all in New Zealand. And the rest of the big public health advocates that we know of in the UK, throughout Europe and in the States. And I'm so pleased that I get to talk to these people who are, to me, heroes. And as I said earlier on, I count you amongst them, because it brings a great sense of optimism to me that we're finally seeing a group of people who are well respected, who know the science, who know the sociology, who know the epidemiology, and can actually expound the truth, as just about every vapor knows it, to the people that need to listen to them. And I'm just so happy that I'm going to be able to come across, and Jill and I are going to work with you for as you know, as long as we need to get this sorted out. It thrills me no end. I know New Zealand's a lovely country, and I'm really thrilled about all of that. I've been watching videos on it for the last 2 or 3 days, getting more and more excited, to the point where I thought it's one of those, you know. But I'm really excited as well to potentially and hopefully be part of an upswell in vaping in New Zealand alongside you and the rest of the team over there. I think it thrills me that you asked me to come, and I take that as a massive compliment. I really do. I don't know there's much more I can say about that, other than to mention, I think on October the 8th, or the weekend of October the 8th, Paddy Costello of the New Nicotine Alliance is going to be over there as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Have we got a meeting sorted out with anybody?
I've been trying to organise a meeting, so that's still, we're still looking at that. With so I chair an organisation, End Smoking NZ, which was founded by Murray and Trish Fraser and some others, and we're the group that, you know, we were trying to get snus and Swedish snus, and then we've been looking at denicotinized cigarettes, and of course we've always been lobbying for electronic cigarettes as well. So we're looking at affiliating with the New Nicotine Alliance UK, and we've been discussing that. So it'd be good to talk with you and Paddy about that. Just one thing I wanted to say about this whole, you know, you were talking about Chapman and Glantz, and I really do understand their concerns, and, you know, because they take a population health approach, look at everyone, we have to look at the future and what effect vaping is going to have in the future on population health, everybody's health, not just individuals. But I think really, you know, if you do get to talk to them and you ask them, do they still have anybody in their family, anyone they love, who smokes? And often they do not. I have asked some of them. And I think that really stands out to me as a key difference. What I've really picked up from you and the Vape Fam on Twitter and at Warsaw, you know, you guys have a lot of love and compassion, and that comes through in what you're doing and in the support you show to each other. And I think that that's missing. And what's missing in the people who are taking a very negative, very negative stance, and some of this negative behaviour that's occurring, there's a real lack of compassion there. And they don't have anybody, they've got no skin in the game. They have nobody in their family who's being affected by tobacco smoke anymore, by the tobacco industry. And they've taken it upon themselves to save us poor dumb natives, or, you know, the poor people in the outback. And they have no compassion for us, though, and for what's really happening, and for my sister. So Hayden and I, you know, we have family members who still smoke, or now I don't, hopefully I still do have some cousins. And yeah, I think it really does come down to having compassion and love. And if you know, nurses and doctors, a lot of them who are actually working with patients, they get this, they get it. And the ones who don't have skin in the game, I think they need to look at that. Are they really the best people to be making decisions about our families? I don't think so.
No, I think you are very, very right. And I'm going to say something now. This is straight at Ridian. Ridian, you need to cut that bit out that Mario has just said and make sure that the Welsh Senate get to see it. Because that was, I'm sorry, it's brought a lump to my throat. You are so right. I'm going to wrap it up now, because I know you've got a long day ahead of you in the beautiful weather as it is over there. Please, can you speak to whoever you need to speak to before we leave on Tuesday, and make sure that we've got glorious weather when we're across there? That would be marvellous. for the time being, Marewa Glover, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sorry to everybody that we had the technical difficulties at the start of the show, but I think it's been well worth waiting for. For myself and Jill, we can't wait to get across there. I'm so looking forward to doing everything that we're going to be doing. I hope that we leave as better friends than we start, and I already consider you a friend as well as a hero. I'm looking forward to everything happening that's going to be happening. My feeling is, if New Zealand goes the right way, Australia will have no choice but to follow. And I think if both New Zealand and Australia both go the right way, the rest of the world will follow. I honestly do. So I'm going there with both barrels loaded for bear. I really am, and I don't mean in a shooty way, but I'm determined to help make a difference if I possibly can. So thank you so much for the invite. We'll say a quick bye-bye in a minute, but to everybody else, this is and has been the very last Haze Hour that you'll see, as far as I'm aware. I think I might have got the titles, and Savi's going to clip me if I don't play them in, so I'm going to try and play the titles and then come back and say the bye-byes. Here they come. Fingers crossed, everybody. Bugger, hang on. I will not have the technology beat me. I just won't. Where is Finder? I will bring the video in separately, all by its little self. I hate when things like this happen, but we've got to do it. Where is it? Here's our. Where is me titles? No, that's not where they are. Oh, don't you hate it when a plan doesn't come together? I've lost them. That could be why. Hang on. Are they in there? VT talk, and we haven't done that. All right. Let's see what happens. See if this works. Yes. So for the last time, hello, good evening, and welcome to the Haze Hour. Yes, there they were. That was the very last time that you will see any of the Haze Hour titles on vaportrails.tv. It's all good. Don't get your knickers in a twist, don't worry. All will be revealed while I'm away in New Zealand. The team is working up something really exciting for everybody, so that's fabulous. Marewa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You've got no idea how much I appreciate it, and I've been reading chat all the way through as well. They really appreciate you spending time with us, and they want to hear more about your sister. So I'll be tweeting like hell, you'll be tweeting like hell. That's all going to be good, and we'll try and keep everybody up to date with what's going on. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to picking you guys up at the airport next week, and it's going to be great fun.
I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely marvellous. I'm as excited as Ben at Christmas. I'm like a fat lad in a pie shop. I don't know where to look first. It's all good. For the rest of what I need to say to everybody is what I'm always going to say to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I do apologise for the mishaps at the start of the show, but we'll edit those out on the bit that actually everybody gets to see. We're already on that. The rest of the team will tell you what's going to be happening before the end of October when I get back. But keep on tuned in. Don't go away. It's all going to be good, but it's going to take a lot of hard work to get it all sorted, but we think you're going to like what's going to happen, so that's great. So from everybody here, from Marewa, from Sav, who is where are you, Sav? You're there, aren't you? There you are. There she is. There's Sav. From all of us here, Keith included, I'll see you when I get back from New Zealand. I might be talking funny, but don't let that worry you. I've been looking at the size of my feet. I'm too tall to be a hobbit, but I'll come back like Smaug. Until we see you next time, from all of us here, vape on, vape hard, and don't let the bastards grind you down. Until I see you when I get back from New Zealand, take care of each other, spread the love, take care, bye bye.